Get ready for golf.
Let the fun begin. Go for a hole-in-one. Come on and knock it in.
Any other putter but a putt-putt putter's gonna putt it in a puddle up.
Everybody playing putt-putt golf time. Everybody's playing putt-putt golf.
Welcome to another installment of the Putt-Putt series. For this episode, we went to Gator Golf Adventure Park on International Drive. This mini golf location is right in the heart of the most touristy area of International Drive. Just like we had been to the most touristy area of 192, it's quite a mess over here, and shoved right in the middle of all of it is a mini golf location, and it's pretty interesting. It has live gators throughout the whole course. It's kind of a mini golf course and a zoo. Now, Gator Golf has one 18-hole course, and you can also pay for admission to the adventure park, and you can pay for all kinds of different things like getting pictures with gators or feeding the gators. And you never know when you're just going to see someone carrying around a gator. Before you go, definitely check out Groupon or other similar sites. They might have some deals. Groupon had 2 for the price of 1 or 4 for the price of 2, so there were some pretty good deals on Groupon. This course kind of has a Florida country boardwalk theme. It's kind of vague, but it's pretty cool. Most of the greens are built right on top of a boardwalk that goes over the gator enclosures. And as you go along the first section, you haven't really made it to the big gator enclosure yet. You'll find some more of these little guys in tanks and some fish and other things. As soon as you get to hole number 2, you realize that there's some pretty unusual holes here at Gator Golf. They definitely go out of their way to make some unique mini golf holes. Sometimes they work, and sometimes they don't. But I appreciate the effort because there are some incredibly unique holes here. But at this hole, the green right at the beginning was a little ripped up, and we found that to be kind of a pattern. The place, it's not in horrible condition, but there's some things that could definitely be repaired, especially when it's the green and you can't putt over it because it makes your ball bounce up in the air. So it's not the nicest place in the world, and it's not the best kept place in the world, but it seems like they're more worried about taking care of the gators and things. And sometimes there's a little hill or something, but there's like a lip at the top, and so it doesn't always work when you're trying to putt it over it. It happens a couple times where there's hills and ramps and things, but it's just kind of hard to get over them. I've lived in Florida my whole life, so I've definitely seen my fair share of gators, but you can pay admission to this little adventure park and see just the gators if you don't want to play mini golf. There were a few people doing that. In addition to the alligators at this hole, it kind of went around a little turtle pen, and he was just walking around poking his head out while you're putting. This was one of the holes where you had a few different options that you could pick from as to how you wanted to putt your ball. Some of them it was by design and some of them it wasn't, but there are always a few options at some of these gimmicky holes, whether you want to go up the ramps or between the ramps. Like at this hole, you could just putt it straight, or you could put it to the right up the hill and hope it falls back down into the hole. They play music at Gator Golf, but I don't exactly know how to describe what the music was. Sometimes I thought it was songs I was familiar with, and sometimes it sounded like royalty-free music. One time it sounded like royalty-free Greek music, or royalty-free versions of familiar songs. It was interesting, but they do play music nonetheless, and sometimes it's a country song which seemingly fits with the theme. So music is better than no music. Now, I always keep in mind ADA accessibility because I think it's interesting when places are not ADA accessible. And this place is definitely not. You could make it in up to see the gators, but you wouldn't be able to play the rest of the course. There's lots and lots of stairs. At hole number 12, theoretically, you hit the ball up the ramp and into the tire, where there's a hole that takes it down to another part of the putting green. But it doesn't make it up the ramp. It's a separate chunk of wood that they put green over, and it just hits it and flies off. We really couldn't figure out how to make this hole work properly. So some of the holes, they try and be different and unique, but they're just bad design and they don't work at all. You get to some pretty cool overlooks like this where you can see all the gators. There's quite a few of them in here. And I can't imagine the gators need a lot of care. I think they're pretty self-sufficient. They just kind of hang out. But there were some areas where there was some trash, and quite a few actually. They were actually walking around and cleaning some of the water, but there was still a bunch of trash. And it wouldn't be a huge deal except for the fact that there are a bunch of animals at this place. And here's another hole with an interesting design, but poor execution. You hit it up this ramp, but half of us couldn't make it up the ramp, and then if we did make it into this little house, it wouldn't go into the hole, so we had to manually drop it into the hole inside of the little doggy house. I don't usually look up reviews for places that we go to, because we'll just find out if it's good or not by going, and we just have to go and film them. But I did look up the reviews for this place, and they were pretty bad. It was not as bad as some of the reviews said, but I guess look up the reviews for some of these mini golf places, because there's some passionate people on Yelp. I think hole 16 just left us absolutely dumbfounded trying to figure out what we were supposed to do. You hit it and it curves up to the second level and then drops down. You have to hit it really hard. That is by far one of the strangest mini golf holes I have ever played, and potentially dangerous because you have to hit it hard, and it flew back at us a couple times. Here's another strange hole where you hit it in one of these 3 holes and then it makes it down this ramp system. It's pretty interesting, and I was pretty happy to see stuff like this. But at the end of it, it just flies off instead of going down the tube. And then at hole number 18, you just kind of hit it straight down a hill, and your ball magically disappears. A classic mini golf trick. It probably could have been a little more interesting at hole number 18. And at the end, you exit kind of onto the street, and you have to walk your putter down the street back up to the front where you got it. And you never know when you're going to see some gator wrangling at the front. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more in the Putt-Putt series.
Sam.
Oh, yeah.
My ball? Thanks.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. It's beautiful. From IKEA. Yeah.
Just imagining
Oh, dude.
Actually, I think I am gonna go get Chipotle after this.
Chucking off some burritos.
Chipotle?
Yeah, dude, that sounds good. All right. Game over. Let's take our putters back to the front. Just walk down the street here. Ah.